poppin' boys? So I decided I am going to do a update video on my M1 Carbine. So I feel like I need to do this. I uploaded a video a little over a year ago on this gun. Did some shooting around with it on video, and I was actually having some major malfunctions. Over time, the gun kind of broke in and became more reliable, and then all of a sudden, again, it kind of became just really unreliable. I was having malfunctions about one or two every mag, which is very embarrassing considering I'm only using 15 rounders, so it's pretty bad. So I ended up sending it back to Car Arms because Ordnance is owned by them, or they're just a conglomerate. They're one company basically. So I sent it back to them. It took them about a full month to fix it, but the whole coronavirus thing was going on, so I don't blame them for taking a month. Kind of seemed normal at the time because of everything slowing down for a lot of people. Not me though, still working. A lot of people are actually. So I got it repaired, and I am happy to report that it is much, much more reliable. Now this is a really old design. I mean, it was designed in the 1940s. I think 41 or 42 is when it was actually kind of like adopted, started being used. They were used up to Vietnam War. These were pretty good rifles in general. Most people liked them. They were pretty reliable, decent guns. Some people complained about stopping power, which, let's be honest, it's a .30 carbine. This was made to replace the 1911. So to go from a .45 to this is good. It's pretty impressive. Not only that, not only the size of the bullet, the speed of it. This is going, between 1,800 and 2,000 feet per second, depending on the ammo you get of .30 carbine. This is Tula, so it's pretty cheap stuff. So I feel like it's probably 1,800, probably kind of on the low side. But I could be wrong, and I don't plan on chronoing it ever because I don't have that equipment. And I don't think the box even says a velocity. I don't believe. But there's plenty of YouTube videos where people will chrono these. So, regardless, that's kind of off on a tangent. I got it back and it functions a lot better. Now, what did they do to it? So, first of all, I know one thing that they did was, see if I can show you guys this. The bore did not have, it needed reamed, basically. So it was just an open bore before, and it didn't have a, what do they call it, crowning, basically, crowning the chamber. So when the ammo was sliding up the ramp, it was getting clogged, jammed up. And a part of that was magazines, ammunition, and the fact that that was not reamed out, bored out. Okay? So what that does is it allows the round to actually find the chamber a lot easier. Because that's the problem. It was not finding the chamber and it was jamming up. Magazines were also a problem. So I sent them 2 Korean mags and then 2 of the OG mags that I bought from them. One was included with the gun, and then the other one I had purchased like 2 weeks after I got the gun. So I had ran 2 of the Car Arms manufactured mags, and those ran the best, and then the Korean ones were even worse, if you go back and look at my original video. Now, so I sent all 4 of those magazines. What they ended up doing is tossing the Korean ones, and they gave me 2 free mags. So thankfully I sent those, otherwise I probably just would have gotten the 2 mags back, the 2 originals. But since I sent the 2 Koreans, they're like, oh, he's trying to use these, let's get him better ones. So they gave me new factory ones from Car Arms. Now these are actually different than the other mags that I have. So these 2 mags are steel and they're like blued. The finish is like blued, which is probably more realistic to the real ones during the war. And then these are new, and they are the same mags. The finish is different. So they're flat black, and it's probably some sort of anodize or nitrite or some other finish that they decided to put on the magazines to make them more modern, and it might help feeding. It sure helps with the scratches because the blued finish is just kind of meh, or it's either a blued finish or it's completely unfinished because it looks like a kind of rough. So I got 2 more OEM magazines, just a different finish on it, and they seem to run as well. So not only did I get 2 basically free mags, and these mags are expensive. These ones are about 30 bucks, the Auto Ordnance mags, which are the better ones. The Korean ones don't seem to like a lot of different M1s. They're kind of picky. So if you were to buy this gun, I would definitely get Car Arms magazines. Just invest in their own magazines. You can buy a Korean and try it if you want, or some other brands, but in my opinion, the Car Arms Auto Ordnance ones are just made best for their gun. And that's what I would use. So these guns are decently expensive, actually. They're about $700 to $800 new. It's pretty pricey. Now, it's definitely worth the cost, considering these aren't made anymore and they haven't been for years. In terms of the military surplus, the Car Arms are still being manufactured, but the Car Arms and Auto Ordnance is the best replica, or not replica, but copy, new production. It's one of the best. Now, Inland used to make some back in the 60s, I believe, 70s, maybe 80s, for the U.S. market, and those were pretty good until they became pretty bad. Like the quality parts that they were using, or the build kits, like, kind of dried up, so they didn't exist anymore. And then they started making like their own manufactured Inlands, which were crap from what I heard. But Auto Ordnance is making their own, and these are decent. They're kind of hit or miss, because the first one I got was not functional, not reliable. But I just used it for about almost a full year, and I didn't shoot it quite as much, and I kind of dealt with it. But again, the reliability got even worse. And then I sent it back, and now it's shooting better than it ever has. So I want to preface that. The bag that I keep it in is just a free, I got it, it's a Realtree or Allen, an Allen one. I don't like camouflage like this, like hunting camo, but I got it for free when I purchased my 308 bolt action from my buddy's pawn shop. I had to carry it out of the store and something, so it didn't fit this, it had to be stayed open. But I was like, oh, I'll just throw my M1 carbine box away, the cardboard box, and put my M1 in this. So it fits in there just fine, fits all the mags. So that is the bag that I use to carry it, which is pretty decent considering it was free. Those are cheap. So again, the ammunition that I run is Tula. These are 110 grain FMJ. I have shot Fiocchi, and those were no more reliable in this gun. After I fixed it, I haven't tried any of the Fiocchi, but the Tula works actually great. So now I'm having about 1 malfunction every box of ammo. So 1 malfunction out of, and then 49 functioning, cycles, which is pretty decent. That's not bad. I was getting 1 or 2 malfunctions a mag, which is only 15 rounds. So right now I'm pretty happy with the performance. It's every 50 to 100 rounds I get 1 malfunction, and I say this pretty confidently because the last time I went out and took this, I shot 300 rounds in it in 1 day, and I had I think it was 3 malfunctions myself. The same malfunction, very easy to clear. It jams up halfway. You pull the bolt back just ever so slightly. The round pops up, and then you let it go. So you don't have to eject the mag and unclog it. It's just a very easy oops, and then I can continue shooting. So it's not a major malfunction, but it definitely hangs up. And it did that 3 times on me, and I think twice on a buddy. So 5 times within 300 rounds is not bad for a old design like this. I do recommend this gun though. I like it a lot. These are classic World War II type rifles. A lot of the surplus ones are selling for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for good representations and functional military surplus ones, but they've dried up pretty much. That's why they're going up in price. So if you don't want to spend over $1,000 and you want a decent M1 carbine, the Auto Ordnance is your best option. So it's a great recreational rifle for sure. Somebody, even girls, it's pretty low recoil. Females tend to like this gun. I've seen a couple reviews on the internet, 3 of them, and they were all saying how their wives or girlfriends love to go shoot the gun. So it's just a low recoil. It weighs a little over 5 pounds with a fully loaded 15 rounder like this. Pop it in there. 15 rounds, so it's fully loaded, ready to go, and this thing is just a little over 5 pounds. It's incredible. It's lighter than really all ARs, unless you build a skeletonized one. It's the lightest. So It's no AR-15, but it is a very light rifle, and I think that lends itself to smaller people liking it. Now the recoil is interesting. It actually is not a light recoil, but it's not a heavy recoil. It's just straight up. And I think that's, people were saying that, just the way that the stock is angled and it kind of goes down. But it's a comfortable gun to shoot, and just the action, how it's not like an AR. It doesn't go straight back. It's just like that. So in other words, just going up. Just the way the bolt is designed, it's just going to go up. So it's not a ton of recoil. It's actually a pretty quiet gun. Shooting this is much less noisy than shooting at, let's say, an 18-inch AR. My 18-inch AR is louder, decent bit louder than this. Same barrel length, obviously a totally different round. So, and then I'll eject the round, just like that. So, awesome gun. I love this thing. Just American, a piece of history, to be honest. So, if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Thank you for watching. I figured I'd just get a small update on this gun. More videos coming. I'm actually getting a knee surgery May 12th now. We got it rescheduled. So, I'm not going to be able to shoot for a while. But again, I'm going this weekend to shoot a lot of different guns. Like 3 or 4 of mine I'm taking out, which is more than normal. And plus, a couple friends, one friend got a new gun. So, I'll be making a video on a new pistol, real pistol. So, you'll be able to see that. So, I'll have content coming, but I'm just going to be crippled. So, in fact, actually, more content will probably be coming than normal, because I'll have nothing to do. People are going to send me more of their guns to work on. So, I'll be doing that for about a solid month while I'm recovering. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I will see you on the next one.